Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Now with today's main headlines. Anti-Muslim political rhetoric fueling Germany's unreported Islamophobic attacks. Enterprise Minister vows to support community entrepreneurs at the Muslim News Awards for Excellence event. Court in France affirms ban on women footballers wearing hijab. Darfur between two wars, a journey of conflict in Sudan. Assalamu alaikum dear viewers, this is Hussein Jawad and you're watching Shia Waves live from Imam Hussein TV 3 in London. Germany has witnessed a rise in Islamophobic attacks. A significant number of attacks remain unreported and often overlooked. The influx of refugees and immigrants, particularly from Muslim-majority countries, has fueled fears and insecurities amongst certain people in society. Far-right political parties and movements have skillfully exploited these concerns, using anti-Muslim rhetoric as a tool to advance their agendas. Muslims in Germany often find themselves marginalized, targeted, and subjected to discrimination in various forms, ranging from verbal abuse to physical assault to the desecration of mosques and Islamic institutions. Moreover, the psychological impact on Muslim communities cannot be overstated. The constant fear of being attacked or ostracized takes a toll on individuals and undermines social cohesion. A concerning aspect of the Islamophobic attacks in Germany is the significant number of incidents that go unreported or receive little media attention. Underreporting can occur due to language barriers, lack of trust in authorities, or a perception that society does not value the safety and well-being of Muslims. Muslims in Germany ask for politicians to be held accountable for their rhetoric, with legal mechanisms in place to discourage hate speech. Law enforcement agencies should ensure that crimes against Muslims are thoroughly investigated and perpetrators are brought to justice. During the prestigious Muslim News Awards for Excellence event, the Enterprise Minister made a resolute commitment to support community entrepreneurs. This to fostering an environment that nurtures talent and promotes economic growth within diverse communities, recognizing the significant contributions made by Muslim entrepreneurs. The minister's pledge aims to empower and uplift these individuals. At the event, the Enterprise Minister outlined a clear vision for supporting community and entrepreneurs. He emphasized the government's commitment to providing equitable opportunities and addressing the specific challenges faced by Muslim entrepreneurs. The minister pledged to facilitate access to finance by working closely with financial institutions and venture capital firms. He also promised to establish mentorship programs that connect experienced business leaders with aspiring entrepreneurs. Lastly, he pledged to allocate resources and collaborate with relevant organizations to provide tailored support services, such as training programs and cultural awareness initiatives. Through initiatives such as access to finance, mentorship programs and tailored support services, the government hopes to create an environment that supports the potential of diverse communities. Top Administrative Court of France on Thursday affirmed a ban on Muslim women football players wearing hijab during matches. According to the Muslim News, the Council of State rejected an appeal by Muslim women footballers against the French Football Federation decision on the 2016 headscarf ban. The court ruled that FFF can legally prohibit players from wearing religious symbols, including hijab, during matches. Sports federations may impose on their players an obligation of outfit neutrality during competitions, the court in a statement said, describing the ban as appropriate and proportionate. The court stated that the FFF could apply the ban in order to ensure the football matches are played smoothly without any conflict. It should be mentioned that the French government has been systematically opposing hijab with the excuse of practicing secular liberalism. Let's remind our dear viewers of today's main headlines. Anti-Islam political rhetoric fueling Germany's unreported Islamophobic attacks. Enterprise Minister vows to support community entrepreneurs at the Muslim News Awards for Excellence event. Court in France affirms ban on women's football wearing hijab. Also tonight, Muslim countries denounce Quran burning in Sweden, threatening Sweden's NATO bid. For the past 2 decades, the region of Darfur in Sudan has been plagued by a relentless cycle of violence, which has not only engulfed Darfur but has also spread into the nation's capital, Khartoum. The conflict in Sudan has taken on various forms, with Darfur serving as the epicenter of humanitarian crisis that has caused immeasurable suffering for its people. More details in the following report.
The roots of the conflict in Darfur can be traced back to long-standing tensions between different ethnic groups, primarily the Arab-dominated government and the non-Arab rebel factions. The conflict escalated in the early 2000s when rebel groups from Darfur, including the Sudan Liberation Movement Army and the Justice and Equality Movement, took up arms against the Sudanese government. They accused the government of marginalizing and neglecting the region, leading to social and economic disparities. What followed was a brutal response from the Sudanese government, which launched a campaign of repression against the rebels and the civilian population of Darfur. The government-backed Janjaweed militia, composed of Arab nomadic tribes, carried out widespread atrocities, including mass killings, rape, and the displacement of millions of people. The United Nations estimates that over 300,000 people lost their lives during the conflict, while millions were forced to flee their homes and seek refuge in overcrowded camps. In 2005, the Sudanese government and the main rebel factions signed the Darfur Peace Agreement, aimed at bringing a resolution to the conflict. However, the agreement quickly unraveled due to disagreements and violations by both sides. As the violence continued, another wave of unrest swept through Sudan in 2019, leading to the ousting of longtime President Omar al-Bashir. The protests that began in Khartoum were driven by widespread discontent with al-Bashir's oppressive regime, which had ruled Sudan for 3 decades. The people of Sudan, including those in Darfur, were demanding political reforms, social justice, and an end to the conflicts that had ravaged their nation. The international community must continue to support Sudan's transition and aid those affected by the conflicts. Sustainable peace in Sudan requires not only an end to the fighting, but also comprehensive efforts to address the underlying issues that have fueled the violence. Only through a collective commitment to peace, justice, and development can Sudan escape the grip of conflict and embark on a path towards a brighter future. Reporting for Shia Waves, Ali Hassan.
And now we continue with some short news. France is currently grappling with a wave of riots and civil unrest that has swept across the country, leading to widespread violence, destruction of property, and hundreds of arrests. President Emmanuel Macron has announced that he will be holding a crisis talks to address the ongoing riots and civil unrest in the country situation and find a way to restore calm and stability. The riots began as a result of widespread dissatisfaction with the government's policies and social inequality. The discontent soon spread to the other issues, including rising living costs, unemployment, and a sense of disconnect between the government and the people. Violence erupted in various cities across the country, and the situation escalated rapidly, which resulted to the arrest of hundreds of people as authorities attempted to regain control. The scenes of chaos and disorder have alarmed both citizens and the government, prompting President Macron to immediate action. The talks will involve government officials, representatives from different political parties, labour unions, and civil society groups. The goal is to foster dialogue, hear the concerns of the people, and work towards implementing solutions that address the underlying issues. Many believe that only through a concerted and collaborative approach can France move towards a more harmonious and equitable society. Pakistan has reached a staff-level agreement with the International Monetary Fund, IMF, over $3 billion of funding, BBC News reported. The news agency added that the deal still needs to be approved by the IMF board. The article further noted that Pakistan's central bank raised its main interest rate to a record high of 22% on Monday to help secure the deal. It should be mentioned that Pakistan's economy is suffering from years of financial floods that hit the country last year, throwing the country in its worst economic crisis since independence from Britain in 1947. 17-year-old Nahil was shot at point-blank range as he drove off and crashed soon afterwards. The officer accused of killing him said he had shot him because he felt as if his own life was in danger. His lawyer told French radio station RTL that his client discharged his firearm in full compliance of the law. Anger at his killing has sparked violence across the country, with marches being held predominantly in the capital, Paris. Due to the protests, 667 people have been arrested. According to French officials, in Paris, shops have been ransacked and cars set on fire overnight despite the heavy police presence. In the town of Nanterre, where the teenager was killed, a huge fire engulfed the ground floor of a building where a bank is located. Videos and pictures on social media also appear to show piles of rubbish ablaze in several places. Crowds of Iraqis held a protest at the Swedish embassy in Baghdad to condemn the burning of the Quran outside its mosque in Stockholm. Al Jazeera reported yesterday the angry protesters on Thursday stayed inside the compound for about 15 minutes, setting fire to a rainbow-coloured flag representing the LGBTQ community and shouting yes, yes to the Quran, but were dispersed by security forces. Iraqi officials claim the insulter is an Iraqi, urging the Swedish government to hand him over so he could be tried in accordance with the Iraqi law. Expressing contempt for this desecration, the Foreign Ministry of Iraq said in a statement, "Legal justifications and freedom of expression do not justify allowing offence to religious sanctities." It should be mentioned that several senior political figures from Islamic countries have severely criticized this anti-religion act, warning that such incidents will promote terrorism and extremism. UN assigned international body to investigate fate of 130,000 missing Syrians. The United Nations General Assembly approved a resolution that will be led to the establishment of an independent body to determine what happened to more than 130,000 people missing as a result of the conflict in Syria. The resolution, which was prompted by appeals by victims' families and loved ones, was adopted on Thursday by the 193-member world body with 83 votes in favour, 11 opposed and 62 abstentions. Among those opposing the resolution was Syria, which said it will not cooperate with the new institution. Russia, China, Belarus, North Korea, Cuba and Iran also voted no. According to Al Jazeera's diplomatic editor, James Bays, it's interesting among those that abstained, it was nearly all of the Arab countries in the past that used to support the Syrian opposition. The resolution means the establishment of the independent institution of missing persons in the Syrian Arab Republic under UN reps to clarify the fate and whereabouts of all missing persons, while international human rights organizations support the new UN resolution and call for concerted efforts to help the families of the victims. Syrian Ambassador Bassam Sabbagh called the resolution politicized, saying it clearly reflects interference in Syrian internal affairs. Sabbagh claims Syria has addressed the issue of missing persons, processed all claims of disappearance submitted to law enforcement authorities, and carried out independent investigations in accordance with Syrian law and on the basis of available information and resources. In Iraq, protesters attempted to breach the Swedish embassy Driven by the anger over the Quran burning, Shia cleric Muqtada Sadr demanded the removal of Sweden's ambassador, citing perceived hostility towards Islam. The Arab League, representing various Arab nations, voiced its concern over the incident and called on Sweden to take measures to prevent its reoccurrence. Egypt also denounced the demonstration, underscoring the importance of respecting religious beliefs. Kuwait joined the chorus of disapproval, considering the Quran burning a dangerous provocation that fuels the grievances of Muslims worldwide. These collective responses highlight the sensitivity surrounding religious beliefs and its impact on international relations. Sweden's pursuit of NATO membership faces further complexity due to objections from Turkey and strained relations between the two countries. We have reached the end of today's Shia Waves show. Let's remind our dear viewers of today's main headlines. Anti-Muslim political rhetoric fueling Germany's unreported Islamophobic attacks. Enterprise Minister vows to support community entrepreneurs at the Muslim News Awards for Excellence event. Court in France affirms ban on women footballers wearing hijab. Darfur between two wars, a journey of conflict in Sudan. Muslim countries denounce Quran burning in Sweden, threatening Sweden's NATO bid. You can send news of your city or country to be published on our news agency. You can view the latest news on our Shia Waves website. You can contact us on the numbers at the bottom of the screen. This is the end of today's news. Thank you very much for watching. We pray to Allah Almighty to hasten the reappearance of the mass of our time. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In today's hadith of the day, I'm going to share with you a saying from our holy beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The holy Prophet Muhammad, may peace and blessings be upon him and his family, as recorded in Man la yahdharul faqih, the one who takes prayer light is not of me.